At 9:17 a.m., the basement vault door gave way. Locksmith Ray had drilled for 40 minutes.
Keep drilling. That inspection order gives us the right, and I am done with this secret bunker nonsense.
The door creaked open, revealing a climate-controlled room lined with 14 archive boxes. A red stamp was clearly visible.
What do those stamps say classified? Why would someone have this in their basement?
Inside the vault, a small sensor on the wall blinked from green to solid red. The silent alarm was already transmitting.
Ma'am, these say National Archives too. Should we even be in here? This doesn't look like a bunker.
Relax. Ray, it's probably some ridiculous homeowner's collection. He's probably one of those prepper types.
She grabbed a document from an open box, scanning it with thinning confidence. The header read, Directorate of Operations After Action Report.
This date is 1982. Cold War surveillance protocols. This isn't someone's hobby. This is real.
The sensor's silent signal had already reached the National Archives Monitoring Center. A federal response was now in motion, and nobody in the basement knew. Michael Brenner's phone vibrated with the emergency pattern. The screen read, Unauthorized Access, Vault Number C7. The breach was real.
Number. That cannot be. Someone broke into the vault.
He pressed the speed dial for the National Archives monitoring desk. The duty archivist answered on the first ring.
This is Custodian Brenner. Vault Charlie 7 breached. Notify FBI liaison. Lock the log. I am on my way.
Michael threw himself into his pickup truck and tore out of the parking lot, the engine roaring.
47 minutes of exposure already on the log. Every second that door stays open is a national security risk.
He could almost see it. Boxes opened on the floor, a camera flash, classified pages scattered under some stranger's shoe. When he finally skidded to a stop in his driveway, a sheriff's cruiser was parked out front, and his front door stood wide open.
They brought a deputy. This was not just a break-in. It was an organized intrusion.
Michael killed the engine. Inside, federal records were exposed. The FBI was still minutes out. Michael walked past the deputy without a word. His focus locked on the open front door. Inside, he crossed the hallway and descended the basement stairs. The steel vault door stood ajar, its lock drilled out.
Step away from those boxes right now. I have a court-ordered inspection warrant. This property is a concealed structure. This is a federally certified records vault. You've just committed multiple felonies.
You said this was a simple HOA enforcement. I didn't sign up for breaking into a government vault.
The sensor log shows 47 minutes of unauthorized access. The FBI is already on its way. There must be some mistake. I was just following HOA regulations. You will both wait upstairs until the federal agents arrive. Don't touch anything else.
Michael stood guard at the vault door, his credentials still in hand. The records had been exposed, but the federal response was now hurtling toward them. Within 20 minutes, 3 black SUVs turned onto the street, lights flashing. Neighbors peered through curtains as agents in tactical gear deployed. The lead agent, a stern man with an earpiece, descended the basement stairs, his team fanning out behind him.
FBI counterintelligence. Step away from the vault and place your hands where I can see them.
I am the custodian. Breach confirmed at 9:17, 14 boxes compromised. These 2 are the intruders.
Secure them. Separate rooms. Dr. Cross, the vault is yours.
If these seals are broken, we're looking at a major exposure. 18 USC 793 might apply.
This is a terrible misunderstanding. I am the HOA chair. I had a court order.
Ma'am, you will be interviewed shortly. Right now, you are being detained.
Dr. Cross donned gloves and began a rapid inventory, her expression darkening with each box she opened. The basement was now a federal crime scene. Evidence tape went up. The real investigation was just beginning.
Mr. Latimer, describe exactly how you gained entry to that vault, and who instructed you to do it.
Mrs. Walsh hired me. She said it was a routine HOA inspection of a concealed room, She had a court order. I just drilled the lock.
And she provided that order before you started drilling, or did she show it to you after the fact?
Mrs. Walsh, you held a county inspection order. Did you at any point suspect these might be federal records?
Of course not. It was just alleged to be a hidden bunker. How was I to know about some secret government facility in a basement?
Because this vault was certified under the Federal Records Custody Program. Its existence is reported to the National Archives. Your court order has no jurisdiction.
I had a judge sign off on it. If there's a problem, it's his error, not mine. I was just doing my job for the HOA.
Here is the original custody agreement, signed by the National Archives director. The vault was inspected quarterly. They knew exactly what they were forcing open.
As the interviews proceeded, a clear pattern emerged. Jennifer had pressured the locksmith and misled the judge. Her story of innocent ignorance was collapsing. Jennifer sat in the makeshift interview room, her fuchsia blazer suddenly looking more like a liability than a power move. The federal noose was tightening. Agent Mercer returned to Ray's room, his approach harder this time. He placed a folder on the table.
Mr. Latimer, we have your invoice and texts. She called 6 times in 3 days. That's not routine.
She kept saying it was urgent, that we needed to get in before the owner returned. I told her I wasn't comfortable with the vault, but she said the judge already signed off.
What did she tell the judge? The affidavit she submitted called it a concealed nuisance and never mentioned a vault.
She wrote the affidavit herself. She said she'd massage the language to push it through.
Ray scrolled through his phone, reading the messages from Jennifer. Just get it open, Ray. I'll handle the paperwork.
I'll testify. I am not doing a felony for her lies.
That's the right call. We'll need a detailed statement.
Mercer and Cross shared a look. With Ray's confession, the focus turned to Jennifer Walsh and Judge Harrison. From the mobile command post, Agent Mercer placed a call to Judge Harrison's chambers. The clock was ticking.
Judge Harrison speaking. This had better be important. I am due in court in 20 minutes.
Your Honor, this is Agent Mercer, FBI Counterintelligence. Your forcible entry order was used to breach a classified federal vault.
I signed a routine inspection order based on an affidavit. Judicial immunity protects me from harassment over legitimate rulings.
That order opened a door into national defense information. Immunity doesn't cover willful blindness. We have the falsified affidavit.
The judge's face went pale. He reached for his reading glasses, hands unsteady.
If the affidavit was false, that's on the petitioner. I had no reason to question it.
The Judicial Council will review your conduct. Criminal referral under 18 U.S.C. 641 and 793 is being prepared.
My career, my reputation, everything I built could vanish.
Judge Harrison hung up the phone, his hand trembling. The silence of his chambers was suddenly deafening. In the command post, Dr. Cross laid out the federal statutes like a prosecutor preparing for trial.
18 U.S.C. Section 641, Theft of Public Records. Section 793, Unauthorized Access to Defense Information. And Section 1924, Mishandling Classified Material.
She tapped a screen, pulling up the names. Every person on the warrant's execution chain was now exposed.
Everyone on that list will be interviewed under federal compulsion. No exceptions, no excuses.
Michael stared at the screen. A federal dragnet was closing. The records breach had become something far larger than a neighborhood dispute.
The potential charges are severe. Section 793 alone carries up to 10 years per violation, and that's before we add the others.
Mercer confirmed the subpoenas were already being drafted. Within hours, the HOA board members would receive a knock at their doors.
What if one of them refuses to cooperate? What's the consequence?
Obstruction is a felony, too. We'll add it to the list. Nobody walks away from a breach of this magnitude.
The machinery of federal justice was in motion. The HOA's petty power play had just awakened a giant, and there was no stopping it now. Agent Mercer entered Jennifer's interview room, dropped a thick folder onto the table with a heavy thud.
Your locksmith provided a detailed statement. He says you pressured him, misled the judge, and wrote the affidavit yourself.
Ray is lying to save himself. I simply followed HOA procedure. This entire inspection was legally mandated.
Mercer laid Ray's signed confession on the table, alongside the falsified affidavit with her signature.
Your fingerprints are on the affidavit. You told him to massage the language. That's conspiracy.
The board authorized it. They knew what I was doing. I'm not the only one responsible.
You are the originator. You'll be charged under sections 641, 793, and 1924. That's decades in prison.
Jennifer's fuchsia blazer seemed to swallow her as she slumped back, the fight draining from her face.
It was just a stupid bunker. How did it come to this?
Agent Mercer nodded to the agents outside. Jennifer Walsh was handcuffed and formally taken into federal custody. As Jennifer was led away, Dr. Cross motioned Michael and Agent Mercer toward the vault door. What she was about to reveal would escalate everything.
This vault isn't just personal storage. It's a federally certified records sub-annex under a National Archives pilot program. The sensors don't just log locally. They transmit directly to the National Archives and FBI counterintelligence in real time.
I knew it was monitored, but a sub-annex? That means this facility has separate federal jurisdiction.
Exactly. Section 793 now applies with enhanced national security implications. The sentencing guidelines just became significantly heavier.
This is no longer a simple break-in. It's an intrusion into a federal facility. Counterintelligence protocols are now fully active.
Michael looked at the custody agreement in Cross's hands and understood the full weight of his role. The vault was a fortress, and he was its sentinel.
All this time, I thought it was just a secure storage room. It was a federal fortress.
The HOA didn't just violate a homeowner's rights. They breached a federal stronghold. The full machinery of the state is now engaged.
The case was no longer a property dispute. It was a national security incident, and everyone involved had just become a target of federal force. Judge Harrison sat alone in his chambers, a blank sheet of paper before him. His hands still trembled.
Effective immediately. I resign as county judge. Health reasons.
He signed the letter with a shaking hand and folded it. There was no ceremony. When the county clerk arrived, the judge handed over his robe without meeting her eyes. The chambers fell silent. The empty courtroom seemed to echo his absence. The state seal behind the bench now hung over a vacancy. By the next morning, the local news had the story. The headline read, "Judge resigns amid federal probe." The HOA board president read the alert on his phone and went pale. The walls were closing in. Harrison stared at the front page, the evidence of his fall in black and white. He had avoided criminal charges for now, but his career was over. The county legal community reeled, and without the judge, the last barrier between the HOA and full federal accountability had crumbled. The reckoning was inevitable. At the Walsh residence, a certified letter from the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency arrived. Jennifer's husband tore it open with unsteady hands. The letter read, "Your security clearance is suspended pending investigation due to your spouse's federal arrest." He called Jennifer immediately, his voice breaking. She listened from her holding area, the news hitting her like a physical blow.
His clearance is suspended. His job, everything. It's all unraveling because of my stupid mistake.
If the clearance is permanently revoked, he'll lose his six-figure defense contractor salary. The family's financial stability will evaporate overnight.
I never imagined this. The board backed me, everyone knew. How did it all fall on my family?
Jennifer slumped against the cold institutional wall. The collateral damage was spreading far beyond her own legal jeopardy.
If he loses his clearance, we lose everything. The house, the savings, all gone because I pushed too hard.
The letter lay on the mantel, the official seal stark against the family photo. A career, a future, now uncertain. The HOA's overreach had breached not just a vault, but a household. The cost was becoming profoundly personal. The HOA board members, themselves now served with federal subpoenas, convened an emergency meeting. The mood was frantic. The board president read the subpoena list aloud. Every officer, every committee member, The room went silent. The insurance broker's voice crackled through the speakerphone. Federal records breaches are almost certainly excluded from coverage. The president's face drained of color. Personal liability for defense costs and judgments was now a horrifying possibility. Accusations flew. One shouted that Jennifer had misled them. Others claimed the full board approved the inspection. A longtime member stood up, face grim. He announced his immediate resignation and walked out without another word. The remaining board stared at the empty chair. The weight of federal liability had shattered their denial. The broker's warning echoed. Without insurance, their homes, savings, retirement, all were at risk. Outside, the afternoon sun was indifferent. Inside, the board's united front had shattered into self-preservation. The federal subpoenas lay on the table like a verdict already rendered. The HOA's leadership was fragmenting under the weight of their own mistake. Agent Mercer and Dr. Cross sat across from Michael at his kitchen table. The federal case was solid, but they needed his direction.
You have earned the right to dictate terms, Mr. Brenner. Full prosecution or a structured plea. What do you want?
Revenge would feel good, but what I really need is protection. Make the vault untouchable. I don't want revenge. I want the vault designated permanently as a federal records subannex.
That can be arranged. The subannex will require around-the-clock federal vehicle access through the HOA gates. No exceptions.
That's a heavy condition, but it ensures nothing like this happens again, and the HOA will answer for it.
I'll agree to a plea deal for Jennifer, but with full restitution and her family's clearance revocation. Systemic change, not blood.
I'll draft the agreement. The permanent subannex status, federal access, and restitution terms will be binding.
Consider it done. The HOA will learn that breaching a federal facility has permanent consequences.
Michael's choice had shifted the conflict from vengeance to lasting defense. The plea deal would now carry his signature and the weight of federal protection. In a federal courtroom, the prosecutor read the plea terms: 18 months probation, $480,000 restitution, and surrender of any security-cleared family member's clearance.
Guilty.
The gavel fell. Jennifer Walsh was now a convicted felon, her future sealed in a single word.
This is the end. The house, the savings, everything my family built is gone.
Her husband sat in the gallery, staring blankly. The clearance revocation had already ended his career. The plea agreement was entered into the record. Under Section 641 and 1924, the sentence was set. Marshals escorted Jennifer from the courtroom. She passed the empty bench where Judge Harrison once presided. Outside the courthouse, the press waited. She was the face of a federal records breach that had brought down a judge. The court reporter packed up her stenograph. The trial was over. The plea deal was done. But the financial reckoning, the restitution, and the lien was still to come. The worst wasn't over. The day of formal sentencing arrived. A federal judge took the bench and recited the terms of the plea without emotion. 18 months federal probation, $480,000 restitution to the National Archives, immediate surrender of any family security clearance.
$480,000. We don't have that kind of money.
In his office 50 miles away, Jennifer's husband opened an email from the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency. The subject line: clearance revocation, final. The message read, "Your personnel security clearance has been revoked, effective immediately. You are no longer eligible for access to classified information." He stood, knocking over his chair, and walked out past stunned coworkers. His career was over. Jennifer sat in the probation office, pressing her fingers onto the ink pad. The reality of her felony was now permanent.
This is the mark of my crime. I have destroyed everything.
At home, the clearance revocation letter joined the family photo on the mantel, a permanent record of loss. The sentence was final, the clearance gone. But the restitution hung over them like a blade still waiting to fall. The HOA board reconvened in the same conference room, but this time the mood was funereal. The board president's phone rang. The insurance adjuster's name flashed on the screen. He put it on speaker. The adjuster's voice was grim. "Federal records breaches are excluded from your policy. No coverage. The line went dead. The president slowly lowered the phone, his face ashen. The formal denial letter arrived an hour later, stating, "Coverage is denied for any claim arising out of access to classified or sensitive federal materials." He read the key line aloud, his voice hollow. The phrase echoed in the silent room. The board members stared at each other, the weight of personal liability settling on them like a lead blanket. Without insurance, their homes, savings, and retirement accounts were exposed. They were on their own. One board member broke the silence, whispering, "How much will this cost us?" No one had an answer. The HOA's protection had fallen away. The board was now defenseless, and the blame shifted entirely onto Jennifer Walsh. Dr. Cross arrived at Michael's home carrying a heavy frame. Inside was the official Subanex designation certificate.
Michael Brenner's vault is hereby designated Federal Records Subanex Gamma-7, permanent and protected.
She mounted the certificate beside the vault door. The facility was now federal territory.
This order mandates that the HOA grant 24-hour access to all federal vehicles. Non-compliance is a federal offense.
The HOA president looked at the paper as if it might burn him, but he signed. By sunset, a crew had replaced the drill-damaged vault door with a heavier, federally rated model. The gate sign was changed. The words glinted in the fading light, 24/7. Federal vehicle access authorized. The next morning, a white armored truck with National Archives plates rolled up to the gate. The gate arm lifted smoothly. The guards saluted. The convoy passed through.
There it is. The vault is a fortress, and the neighborhood now bends to federal law.
A process server arrived at the Walsh home. Without ceremony, he tacked a federal lien notice to the front door. The lien notice read, "Federal tax lien. Amount due, $480,000. Failure to satisfy will result in property seizure." Jennifer, on probation, opened the door to get the mail. The lien notice was the first thing she saw, and she froze.
The house is under lien. If I can't pay, they'll sell it. We have nothing left.
Her husband emerged and stood beside her, reading over her shoulder. They exchanged no words.
All of this because of my pride and a stupid HOA vendetta. I destroyed us.
Weeks later, a bank-owned auction sign appeared in the front yard, the lien notice still taped to the door. Moving boxes lined the porch. The Walsh family was packing their belongings, piece by piece.
This is what's left of the life we built. Boxes on a porch.
The foreclosure was complete. Her home, the last symbol of stability, was gone, consumed by the restitution debt. Months passed. The neighborhood absorbed its new reality. Armored federal vehicles came and went like a permanent fixture. Michael walked through the HOA gate, and the guard simply nodded. No one dared inspect his property anymore. Another armored truck backed into the subannex entrance. A transfer of declassified pending records had become routine. Inside the vault, a researcher sat at a government-issued desk, reviewing files under the hum of new surveillance cameras.
This is how it should have been from the start. The vault is a fortress, secure under federal law.
A news crew arrived. The reporter framed the story. An HOA overreach that created a permanent federal facility.
You defended more than your home, Mr. Brenner. You defended the integrity of the National Archive. This is your due.
And the HOA will never forget it. The gate sign is a permanent reminder of what happens when you breach a federal facility.
The news segment aired that night. It ended with a shot of the federal convoy rolling through the gate, unchallenged.
The vault is secure, the law is clear, and I can finally sit in peace.
The afternoon light fell across his living room. Michael settled into the old armchair, a cup of coffee warming his hands. Through the window, an unmarked federal car rolled past. Routine. Permanent. He lifted his National Archives credential from the side table. A new metallic sticker now adorned it. Subanex Custodian.
Grandfather's land became a front line in defending federal records. He would have understood.
He ran his thumb over the new sticker. The designation was now permanent.
To the vault, to the law that guarded it.
He took a sip, then set the cup down. The silence felt earned. Outside, the gate sign remained, a quiet sentinel of federal authority.
The battle was over. The vault was protected. I can finally rest.
He let the afternoon light wash over him, and for the first time in months, there was nothing to defend. Jennifer Walsh sat in the probation office, her head bowed under the weight of a felony record. The HOA board president stared at the insurance denial letter, his face a mask of silent ruin. The lien notice remained on the Walsh door long after they had gone, a permanent stain of federal debt. The gate sign stood immovable, 24/7 federal vehicle access authorized, a quiet monument to the HOA's miscalculation. Michael's credential rested on his nightstand, the new Subanix custodian's sticker a quiet testament. The truth had been behind that steel door all along, but it took an HOA overreach to bring federal law into the neighborhood. The sign was more than a mandate. It was a line that could never be crossed again. The real protection was never the vault. It was the truth that it held and the system that defended it. The lien notice, the probation, the ruined career. All reminders that federal records are not a game. And at the entrance to the neighborhood, the sign remained, a promise that the law had prevailed.